Welcome back to Berserk. Little quick story as to why we missed last week. We didn't realize that we did everything that was written. You see, we write these a lot of times in advance so that we can have a lot of work preemptively done so that we don't miss our schedule, and I messed up and totally messed up the schedule. So we're back on track. Today's going to be a little bit shorter, and so will next week, but that'll allow us to be back on track so that you guys don't miss another Friday Berserk. Now, in our last video, Guts and his team managed to escape the destruction of Flora's mansion and escape to the coast to try and regroup. As the night came, the Skull Knight appeared before Guts, telling him that it may be possible to restore Casca's heart through the rule of Elfheim and the King of the Elves. As everyone went looking for Casca, they found her sitting on a beach with a mysterious boy who could say no words, which reminded Guts of the fetus that went running away, the demon fetus from so long ago. The waves crash as the fog gets thicker around the small building that Guts and his friends are staying in, and with the fog comes the bleeding brand. Guts feels the blood drip from his neck and he jumps up to the window to check. When the others ask what's going on, he tells them, "There's something in the fog, it's coming our way." Outside, the crocodiles we saw slowly make their way up to the small building, and Shirkei mentions the odds that she senses isn't that of the spirits, but more like the monsters at the spirit tree. Guts says that he knows this feeling, it's the power of the apostles. And just then there's a banging at the door, and as it breaks apart, everyone can see one of the large crocodiles standing there waiting for them in the mist. It lunges through the doorway, snipping at anything that can be reached, but everyone manages to jump out of the way of its attack. Guts begins pulling the level on his mini crossbow, and he starts unloading all of the bolts he has until the crocodile falls to the ground. Serpico looks at the giant body, asking, "What on earth are those things?" And Shirkei says that they were created by placing a spirit into a living animal, something called a familiar. The thing is, who could have done that? Serpico then begins to shout, "We're in trouble over here. Those things are beginning to attack in droves." Shirkei begins pulling items from her backpack, stating that the moon is full tonight, and even though they're not on holy ground or in a temple, she should be able to cast a protective spell. All they have to do is buy her some time until she can finish it. She looks over at Farnice and tells her that she is the one who's going to have to take care of Casca. And Farnice looks at Casca holding the small child and she yells, "Right!" Everyone begins to prepare themselves for battle, and Guts finishes wrapping his left hand so that it's strapped in, holding his sword. Shirkei says that in his current state he shouldn't be fighting. He's still recovering from the Berserker armor. And Guts tells her, "I'm gonna be fine. It's a perfect way to make sure I've loosened up a bit." Outside, as the crocodiles begin to surround the building, Ishidora leans out the doorway and throws several small explosives to stun the initial wave. Then right behind him, Serpico leaps out. He dances through the wind as he's flying, and once he's over the crocodile, he slashes, letting the wind cut around everything into pieces. Ishidora shouts, "Now it's time!" And he rolls out almost into the mouth of the crocodile as he quickly retreats to rethink his plan. Using what Guts told him before, Ishidora throws another explosive, and he rolls using his small size to his advantage. Right when he plants his feet down, he takes out the salamander dagger and he stabs back. The flames from the dagger stop the crocodile, and just as Ishidora gets ready to move to the next, Guts walks by as his cloak blows. Taking the fake arm, Guts grips onto the hilt of his sword, and he swings, cutting through an entire group of crocodiles. Ishidora yells that it looks like he's fully recovered, and then he notices the taped-up hand beginning to tremble. He pushes through the pain, telling everyone, "Come on, we have work to do." As everyone fights, the numbers of crocodiles begin to dwindle down, and Guts can feel it. The darkness sensing the blood all around him. He's looking for the chance to free himself, and Guts knows that he can't do it. Even though he could easily just rip through everything and feel no pain, he mustn't do it. Back inside of the hut, Shirkei continues her chance when one of the crocodiles begins reaching in the doorway. Ivlaria flutters around Farnice, shouting, "It's there! Something's there! Turn that thing into an alligator bag or something!" As Farnice stands petrified at what she sees, the crocodile looks around and sees the young boy. The two stare at each other for a few moments, and then the crocodile turns and walks away. Just as the hut is clear, Shirkei finishes casting her spell and a barrier of fire appears. She then tells everyone that the barrier will only do so much since it's not just pure spirits. These familiars do not have a strong enough will to act alone. Someone must be controlling them. Once they are defeated, then the attacks will stop. Guts cuts through another crocodile asking where they are, and Shirkei tells him that she is searching now. As Guts continues to fight, he can feel the beast from within trying to come out, slowly creeping up his back, ready to take hold of him again. However, just before it can, Shirkei yells that she has found where the flow of Odd is coming from. It's from behind the rocks on the shore. Serpico quickly jumps onto and over the rocks, and then he sees the Kushan monks, so he cuts off all of their heads. The crocodiles suddenly stop and they fall back on all fours, and after looking around at where they are, they all start heading back into the waters. Ishidora asks, "Is that it? Did we actually do it?" And Shirkei tells him no. Not yet. From the heads of the monks, the demonic mist flows out and gathers inside of the water, forming something dark in color. Serpico takes a closer look and the dark mass rises up and a long snout starts to curl around a sea creature. Serpico shouts asking, "What is that?" And Shirke tells everyone, "I'm not sure what that is, but it's same as a familiar. It's a magical life form formed by putting a spirit into an animal." The creature starts to thrash around as Serpico jumps off the crocodile heads to get close and cut out its eyes. As he gets closer, the snout whips back, blasting Serpico and throwing him back with the others. Shirke starts scanning the area and finds the one controlling it. But if they're out in the ocean, it would be too far. Rather than waiting for how they're going to do it, Guts just shoulders the giant's sword and walks forward. Shirke shouts that he can't go, and as he passes by, she can see the beast inside of him already coming out. He starts carving into the giant beast, and Ishidori yells that if anyone could do it, it's Guts. He could do it, right? Shirke nervously watches, telling him, "No, he can't." The creature whips back, knocking Guts into a stone wall, and as he looks back up, he can see it crawling towards the group. He struggles to move, but with most of his body destroyed, he finally allows the beast to come out. The Berserker armor starts to attach itself, digging deeper into Guts' body until finally, there is nothing left of Guts. The armor howls as it jumps with blinding speed, stabbing into the creature. He holds the sword in place, and as the creature starts to move again, Guts jumps and flips, cutting off its snout. Ishidori yells that it's like he's not even human anymore, and Farnese says that his wounds, they're going to. But before she can finish, it's already starting to happen as the blood begins to pour out of the platelets of the armor. As everyone asks what they're going to do now, Shirke slams her staff down, stating that she will bring him back. Guts stands there trying to keep control, and he can feel the black wave overcoming him. The darkness pulling at him, roaring as it drags him further and further into the rage. He holds out his sword and he jumps straight into the creature's mouth, and it bites down. A few moments pass and the tip of the blade shoots out, and from the bloody hole, Guts pulls himself out. From there, he runs cutting through one of the crocodiles, and as they all start to move, he can see only their mouths are trying to bite at him. He screams as he sticks the sword into another crocodile's mouth, and he leaves, splitting it in half. The crocodiles start to run away, and Guts just chases after them, skewering them all together. Everyone watches, and Ishidara says that at this rate he'll clean the monsters up, though it's quite gruesome. Serpico says that he doesn't think that's the case. According to the legends, those who are called Berserk are an object of fear to not only their enemies, but their allies as well. If anything comes near the Berserkers, be it enemy or ally, it will be killed. Inside Guts' mind, he can see nothing but the sharp teeth surrounding him, trying to devour him, and he shouts to them not to come, but all Guts can hear is the voice within him telling him to attack, 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 kill everything! Finally, after the last swing, he stands over the mound of bodies that he just created, gnarling, as he looks for his next target. When he looks back at the others, he doesn't see his friends. What he sees are things that need to be destroyed. He starts to walk towards the group, and then he lunges. Serpico yells for everyone to stand back as he pulls out his sword, and then there's another voice inside of Guts, one telling him, stop. And that concludes the chapters that we're going to be covering today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I do apologize for missing last week and this one being a bit short. In the end, we'll be able to bring you more Berserk. That's what we're trying to get back, having a no-stopping situation. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Mangastorian, and you can subscribe to this channel to get more Berserk.